P-2 is by far and away the hardest level in ULTRAKILL. Even beating the damn thing is an impressive feat, let alone P-ranking it. But today, I'll help you on your journey and help you P-rank P-2. First off, the requirements for P-rank. It's no surprise to anyone that the hardest part is no deaths, to the point where the other ones kind of form themselves when doing Deathless. The time requirement is 10 minutes and 30 seconds, which is monumental. The most you'll usually spend on P-rank attempts is around 9 minutes, and that's going quite a bit overboard. The S-rank time was likely balanced around a full Panopticon fight, which is something that's not currently in the game as of the time I'm writing. The kills are simple, just kill every enemy. The style is the one I see most commonly missed when going for a P-rank, and there's a reason as to why, but I'll get into that later. What's perhaps the most important part of P-ranking is your weapon selection. Most of these are going to be the normal ones in the main game, but there are some that's going to be different. The revolvers are the most standard way of dealing damage. The ones I recommend are the slab piercer, the standard marksman, and the sharpshooter of your choice. I'll be using the slab sharpshooter for this video, but you can use whatever one you like. The piercer is best used as a standard slab shot and for ultra shots with the marksman. The marksman is the most useful weapon in the game, and it translates over very well to this level. You should have the hang of shooting coins, but I recommend looking straight up, as your momentum should perfectly track the coin when moving optimally. The sharpshooter is going to be very useful in certain parts. I'll be discussing their uses later on in the video. The shotguns are your main method of dealing damage, and there's not much else to mention because you probably know how useful they are. What I will mention is a shotgun combo I like to call a round combo. Charge the overpump shotgun twice, whiplash to an enemy, shoot and punch with a knuckle blaster at the same time, push to the blue shotgun, and finish him off. The reason I call it a round combo is because it will kill both virtues and malicious faces instantly when performed, two very round enemies. The nail guns are not very useful in this level, but the saw blade launchers definitely are. The best slots for saw blade are both the best slots are for the saw blade on attractor and overheat. These are best used for setting up traps at the beginning of most encounters. I'll mention where to set up some traps, but those will be for certain rooms. The rail cannon is pretty much the exact same as in other parts of the game. Use the electric for single target damage and the malicious for nukes. The screwdriver is actually more useful here than other areas, as they can pin down my players, which will be discussed later on in the video. The rocket launchers are pretty simple. Just shoot rockets at enemies. Simple as that. Grease frame is best used for rocket rising, while the SRS is best used for insurrectionists and Cerberus. And lastly, the arms. These are extremely useful. The feed packer can parry and projectile boost, extremely important for survivability and damage, while the knuckle blaster can give a slight damage edge to finish off any enemy without wasting time or freshness. The whiplash is, well, the whiplash. Try to avoid using it at low style and health, as every bit of hard damage matters in this level. And with the weapons out of the way, we can talk about encounters and strategy. First off, practice Sisyphus first. This is extremely important, as Sisyphus is the hardest part of a casual run first time, but becomes the easiest when mastered. Try and learn his patterns very quickly and devise how to dodge and parry each one. The best way to start the fight is with a saw trap and ultra shot from the slab piercer, knocking about a quarter of his health. A bug that I will mention is that for his "this will hurt" attack, it's best to get as close to him as possible, as for some reason the game will render more punches the closer you are to him, dealing more damage. Also, that attack cannot be parried by a shotgun, only the feedbacker. As for the Panopticon, I'd recommend learning rocket riding in air to avoid the lob projectiles, as they have some very good tracking. Whiplash can also help by grappling to the eyes, but it's not as consistent. Speaking of the eyes, I'd only recommend killing the malicious face and keeping the eyes alive. This may sound weird, but they're only in effect when taking damage, which will rarely happen when playing optimally on Panopticon, especially considering you only have a limited time. Once you get consistent at Sisyphus, then I recommend going for the rest of the level. For the aptly titled Weezer Room, lay down a saw trap towards the back half of the room, but try not to have it hit the wall. This is more useful for the ferryman than the Cerberus, but it will still be used for them regardless, as you don't really have a choice. When the Cerberus spawn, use a core nuke to heavily damage all of them. I recommend treating the core like a coin and looking straight up. You can dash during the time stop, meaning you won't take damage. After the nuke, just spam projectile boosts and rockets to finish them off quickly. Always keep moving to avoid the virtues, use coins and more projectile boosts to finish off the pyramid. As for the virtues, just perform 2-round combos to kill them both. Your rail cannon will likely not be charged, so it's best just to use these. You can use an overpump to kill them, but it's pretty inconsistent, and it's not at all recommended if you don't have the dash timing down. Next up, the Invincible Mind Flayer room, the first one. This room isn't too difficult. The only real threats are the swords machine and the 2 sentries. Your saw trap will want to be about here on the right. This will knock the swords machine into phase 2, stunning it for a while as you kill the sentries. The Mind Flayer's projectiles can be parried for some health, but for the most part you'll want to ignore it and dash through them. After dealing with the sentries and swords machine, all that remains is the schisms, which should just be free health. Next up is the Cerberus and Street Cleaner corridor. I don't recommend using the Saw Blade launcher as it's very useful for the start of the next room. The strategy is to prematurely charge a cannonball, launch it at the Cerberus, and then get behind him and use the electric rail cannon. You should take out a Street Cleaner if lucky, but if not, the Sharpshooter can make quick work of them. I recommend pairing a Mind Flayer projectile for free health before you enter the next room. You will need it. And next is the infamous 2 Mind Flayer room. Quickly set up a saw trap by the swords machines. The sentry is in a very easy to hit spot, so don't worry about him too much. Finish off the swords machines first. Once them and the sentry are dead, grapple to a virtue and use the electric rail cannon to line up a shot that kills both of them. Killing them is a necessity to stay alive in this arena. After that, the Malfaces should just be easy pickings, but do wait for them to start their beam attack to finish them off. Next, break both idols and kill the Mind Flayers. Don't get too cocky, as you can still easily die in this part, but not as easily as the other parts. Just play it safe and parry the orbs they fire. They shouldn't be too big of a headache. Next is the Dual Insurrectionist. Most people usually insta-kill one of them with a pit, but I don't recommend this, as you lose out on a lot of style points, enough to miss S rank if you aren't careful. To start off, charge a cannonball to stun the first one, and use the rail cannon on the second. Spam projectile boost and rockets, and you can even set up a soul trap if you feel like it. This part is pretty easy, even without insta-killing one of them. Next is the Bloody corridor, and this is where the Sharpshooter shines. Use it on one of the malicious face's projectiles, insta-killing it, and launching the virtues into the walls. Quickly take care of the other face by using a round combo, and all that's left is the sentry, which is easy pickings. Next part, use the Sharpshooter to kill the other malicious face, launching the sentries into the ceilings. All that's left here are the Cerberus, which is very easy. Sometimes they even walk off on their own. And lastly is the final arena with an invincible stalker. Set up a saw trap on the left side to weaken the ferrymen and swords machines, spam projectile boost to kill them off, and use the knuckle blaster and coins to finish off the strays. Next is the sentries and hideous mass. Use the rail cannon immediately to interrupt 2 of them and whiplash constantly to finish the others off. They almost never hit you when whiplashing, so you should be safe. You'll also likely be at full health due to how infrequently the sentries attack. And next is the final part with the Cerberus and virtues. Before anything else, whiplash to a virtue and kill 2 of them with a rail cannon. Considering you can't heal due to the stalker, they are by far the most threatening enemy in this arena. After they die, kill the idol for the hideous mass and stay as far away from him and the Cerberus as possible. You can't heal from them, so going up close will only lead to more damage. Spam more projectile boosts and rockets, and they should be dealt with easily. The idol for the stalker will be open, allowing you to deal with a quick ricochet to insta-kill him. And that's about the whole level. I should mention that the strategy isn't foolproof and you can still die during it, but 60% of the time, it works all the time. I already discussed Sisyphus and the Panopticon earlier in the video, so if you're skipping here, go back and watch those parts. Eventually, you should be able to P-rank it, and when you do, you'll be glad I was there to help.